Excuse me. Jeez. It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and 9 a.m. in Las Vegas, Nevada, ladies and gentlemen. And this is CarEdge, a quiet edition of CarEdge Live for Thursday, May 1st, because apparently I blow some people's ears out with my normal opening, so I'm quieting it down today. And your host today, as normal, me, the loud MFer, and my beautiful son, Zach. How are you today, handsome?
Doing fantastic. Happy May 1st, everyone, in a room that has less echo. So hopefully today's show goes well. First things first, caredge.com. If we can help you out with anything, folks, check it out. We continue to offer 25% off our CarEdge Insights and car buying services in response to those 25% auto import tariffs. So if we can help you out, please check it out back at caredge.com. We'll be talking about our sponsor of today's show, Delete Me, in just a little bit. But before we do, Dad, let's
Yes.
turn our attention to April sales numbers, and they were strong. The auto industry posting significant gains in the month of April for reporting OEMs thus far. Look at this, Dad. Ford sales up 15% year over year. You have Lincoln sales up 40% total for Ford Motor Corporation, up 16.3%. Hyundai Kia sales up 16.3%. Mazda sales up 21%. So of the reporting automakers we have thus far,
Yes.
a shocking amount of sales growth year over year. Did you just shake your head and say that's not shocking? That's shocking, man. Double digits.
Well, yeah. Yes. Yeah. I have never. I have never been so shocked in my life.
Wait, sorry, what was that face?
That's my shock face. I saw the thumbnail. The reason I am not shocked per se is because this is all they're pulling customers forward. They pulled them into March and they pulled them into April. And once the tariffs do hit and we start seeing price increases, I don't know, it's going to seem like everything fell off a cliff. So, are those sales numbers phenomenal? Absolutely. Are people rushing to take advantage of pre tariff pricing? Absolutely. Is Ford's employee pricing working? Oh, you betcha. So, yes, there are some manufacturers out there that are, and my guess is all of them will show huge sales growth for April. The concern is what's going to happen in May and June and July when tariff prices start to impact the pricing. Excuse me.
What is you okay, Pops?
You know, I'm good enough to continue.
So what do you think is going to happen? Because I agree with you that there have been a lot of pull forward transactions happening, people trying to take advantage of pre-tariff pricing. I just saw an ad last night. It was the first time I watched the NBA playoffs so far
Yeah,
this year. And there's a Hyundai Assurance ad talking about how there's going to be no MSRP increases. Now,
yeah,
the cynic in me watched that and said, okay, we're going to track Hyundai MSRPs like a hawk and see if they increase their MSRPs. But there's a lot of marketing going on right now. And it makes sense because these manufacturers have millions of vehicles on dealer lots that have been imported pre-tariff. So it makes sense why they're really marketing, hey, no
sure.
MSRP increases, or in Ford's case, the employee pricing. But Dad, do you think that this is going to sustain itself into May? I mean, Ford even just came out and extended employee pricing another month. So maybe this has some more legs than we're giving it, giving it credit to.
Well, yeah, I think it. I think it can sustain itself through May, and the reason for that is because most of these manufacturers had when the tariffs went into effect on April 3rd, whatever tariffs went into effect on April 3rd. Um, most of the manufacturers at that time had 90 to 120 days supply of pre-tariff vehicles in inventory. Well, we're 60 days into the 90 to 120 days. Has Maybe the extra sales have cut into that number, so maybe the number's closer to 90 to 100 days or 70 to 100 days as opposed to 90 to 120. But I think at a certain point when we start to actually see price increases, MSRP increases,
Like the
and we
Audi
know, for
Q5, for
example,
example. That's like a perfect example of a vehicle where we know the price is going up 15% year over year.
yeah, and we know when it comes to the BMW, the 2 Series and the M2 Series, um, those prices they announced, they held the price as long as they could. Those vehicles are produced in Mexico, and they're about to be hit with a 4% price increase. 4% on a $50,000 car is $2,000. Okay, you know me, I'm not good at math, but $2,000 is a lot of money. So, are we going to start to see people back off purchasing as we see prices increase? I would suspect we will, but at this point, it's only conjecture. The proof will be in the pudding, I think, in June and July as dealerships and manufacturers run out of pre-tariff vehicles, and then they start to replace them with vehicles that have price increases. So, do I think we could go another 30 days before we see a major impact? Absolutely. I think we'll see that the pull forward effect for another month before we start to see a decline in sales. And
Huh.
most pundits in the automotive space are predicting that when the higher priced vehicles come to fruition, we will see a major decline in sales once that happens. There have been predictions of up to 2 million lost new car sales for the remainder of the year once those prices hit.
Yeah, Dad. I want to come here and look at some of the specific makes and models that saw their sales go up. And right above my dad's head, F-Series sales jumped 13% in the month of April, while Maverick sales rose 67%. So look at that, Dad. The Maverick increasing sales year over year for the month of April by 67%. That's tremendous. And you can see up above, hybrids and EVs contributed sharply to the increases at Hyundai and Kia. Hybrids and EVs were up 21% for Kia and 25% for Hyundai. So a lot of the sales growth happening actually, interestingly, amongst hybrid and electric vehicles, obviously, with the Maverick there. And it's interesting, Dad, General Motors was one of the few automakers. They're not one of the few automakers, excuse me. General Motors was one of the automakers that came out most aggressively communicating that, hey, what's going on in the market is going to cause us to have to reforecast and, quite frankly, suggest that there's going to be a $5 billion impact from what's happening here with tariffs. And what do you know, Dad? General Motors doesn't have employee pricing right now, but they do have 0% financing for 48 months on the 2025 Chevrolet Silverado 1500, and they have 0% financing on the 24 Suburbans and 24 Tahoes. So they have vehicles sitting out there. Again, it's like pull forward demand, but it's because all this inventory is sitting there. It's just a ton of cars just sitting there.
Yeah, and let's face it, we're in May of 2025.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to relieve themselves of their 2024s. And, the 2025s for most of your domestic manufacturers came out in September. So you
Think
have...
about that for a second. I mean, they are just sitting on old bleep vehicles.
Yeah, you notice that the 0% interest for 48 and 60 months weren't for 2025 model year vehicles.
The Silverado is. That's what's interesting here is the Silverado is for the 2025.
I'm sorry. I thought that said 2024.
But Dad, the Suburban and the Tahoe are for the 2024, and the Suburban and Tahoe never get 0% financing. So it is really interesting.
Well, they do when the 2024s are still sitting in stock. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to figure out how to move them, and there's nothing different about how you move things. If product is sitting, typically it's because the asking price exceeds the value that the customer has placed on it. Once you lower the price to where the value exceeds the asking price, then people will buy it.
Pops, that's exactly what the sponsor of today's show is doing. They're lowering the value to an asking price that hopefully our community finds helpful. You and I both talk about this all the time, Dad. The issue out there in the market is that there are data brokers selling our information online, and the sponsor of today's show, Delete Me, can help you with that. Things like your phone number, social security number, home address, and more are sold online, and they're available to marketers, scammers, and
everyone in between. Whoever everyone is, I don't know, but they're in between.
I just want the one. We're workshopping this, folks. Just hit me with the one-liner. All right, ready? We're gonna try again.
And
All right.
everyone in
no,
between.
No, Dad, I go solo screen. When I do
Whatever,
solo screen,
just
you
do
hit
the
it.
promo.
Okay, ready? Here, wait, one more time. Things like your phone number, social security number, home address, and more are sold online, and they're available to marketers, scammers, and
everyone in between.
A little more oomph next time. All right, I'm just playing with it. Delete Me, the sponsor of today's show, helps you take control over your data. My dad and I both use Delete Me, and it removes your data from hundreds of data brokers online. You can see our dashboard right here. Get started today and get a 20% off coupon code CarEdge, or go to joindeleteme.com/CarEdge. Thank you, Delete Me, for continuing to sponsor the channel. We'll workshop it. We'll keep
yeah, we're working on it. We'll have this perfected in a year or two.
Yeah, we absolutely will. So, Pops, what do you make of the fact that General Motors came out and said, hey, we expect that tariffs are going to result in $5 billion in impact on our business? That cannot possibly be sustainable, can it?
Well, it is. I mean, they're still projecting that they're going to make somewhere between 10 billion and 12 billion for the year, as opposed to what was it, 13 to 15 billion. So, even though it's a huge impact, I mean, it's not like, most of us are carrying an extra $5 billion around. Hell, I'm not even carrying an extra $5 around. But when you're talking about the type of numbers that they talk about, would they prefer to have that 5 billion? Absolutely. Can they survive for years and years and years and years on lower profit when they're still going to be making $10 billion a year? I'm pretty sure that's sustainable for the long term. Now, if that $10 billion a year in profit turns into $500 million loss for the year, then you have to start to question how sustainable it would be. But we are so far from that. General Motors will be around for a long, long time, regardless of the impact that tariffs have on their business. And it will have an impact on their business.
It does make me wonder, though, Dad, because we've seen other automakers like Nissan, for example, have to step up so much on incentives to sell their vehicles that it's cost them a lot of money. 99% decline in profit for Nissan, for example, in the third quarter of last year. You look at something like this, 0% financing on a Chevy Silverado is not cheap. I mean, this costs the manufacturer a lot of money. Like, let's put this into perspective really quickly. Let's come back over to CarEdge.com. Let's go to the car search. And we're still in Kansas City from yesterday. Let's do Chevrolet.
Okay. Let's do a Silverado.
Whoops.
Let's do a 2025.
Yep. Let's get a new one here.
I'm catching on.
Okay, so we've got this one. We'll just click on this one, whatever.
Okay.
And what I want to look at here, Dad, God, they're expensive. Yes. $70,000. Okay, 54 days supply, not that crazy. Yeah. But what I want to do is I want to come to the monthly payment.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you look at this here, out the door price, whatever, loan term. So let's change this to 48 months.
Yes.
And the average new car interest rate is actually 9% right now. So we've got our calculator set at 8%. We'll leave it at 8%. $1,680 is your monthly payment. And if GM's offering this to you at 0%,
yes,
you're down to $1,433.
So that means that it's costing them $250 a month for 48 months. That means it's costing them over $10,000 to buy the rate down, or somewhere near that.
That, to me, is where this could be not sustainable, right? Like, you take a $5 billion hit on tariffs, and because people aren't buying your products, you have to incentivize it by spending thousands of dollars for 0% financing. That's where this starts to become really, 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 which to be clear is an opportunity for consumers.
Oh,
Absolutely
absolutely it is. And many people out there say, well, I would never finance my vehicle through a dealership. Well, if you can get the zero, if you qualify, let's start with, if you can qualify for the 0% financing that manufacturers are offering, you would be foolish not to take it. Okay. The problem is going to be that typically you need a credit score of 740 or above to qualify for the 0%. Below that, you might qualify for, I don't know, 0.9 or 1.9, whatever their next tier may be. But when banks do, when manufacturers do that, there is a huge cost to them. And we know, if you look at the article that we started with sales, I think the average uh, spend for incentives last month was around $3,000.
Yep.
So if Chevrolet's going to spend $9,000 to $10,000, that's 3 times the amount that they had hoped to spend. Yes, that will cut in to profits. Absolutely. It's a marketing expense, gets charged to advertising, but still, that's a huge chunk of change.
And I want to come back here, Dad, to this particular listing because look at this, y'all. The MSRP is $69,340. Invoice price is $65,248. If I scroll down here, the dealer's advertising it for $61,090 right now. So not only, and to be clear, I haven't reached out to this dealership. I don't know what fees they add on. I don't know what other add-ons, et cetera, et cetera. But that is a $8,000 discount off of MSRP. Plus, like we mentioned a moment ago, we've got 0% financing for 48 months. This is the reality for vehicles that came in pre-tariff.
Oh, yes.
There's huge incentives and there are huge dealer discounts to be had. So there's still deals. And it's fascinating because General Motors is the domestic automaker that did not do employee pricing, Ted. Ford and Stellantis did employee pricing. That was their big push. Yes. I actually think the deal you could get on that Silverado 1500 is significantly better than the employee pricing deal you're getting over at Ford or over at Ram. I'll pull up the incentives for those brands here in just a second because I think it shows.
Yeah, because I'm kind of thinking that if most Ford products qualify for employee pricing, then there would be a limited number of product that would be available with a really cheap interest rate.
Well, let's look at this really quickly, Dad. Here are the current offerings. And to be clear, they're going to get updated for the month of May, so it might take a day or two here. But here's the Ford Explorer, 5.9% for 72 months. But you get employee pricing. Okay.
Yes.
2024 Ford Expedition, $2,000 cash incentive. Okay, but you get employee pricing. 2024 Ford F-150 XLT 2.7-liter engine, 5.9% APR for 72 months. Or a new 2025 Ford F-150 employee pricing. None of those are as good as 0% financing for 48 months.
No, absolutely. And that's because you can't do both. You can't afford to do both. That's why typically it's an either or. Unless you were like Nissan and you needed to do both, and then it ate up 99% of your profit. And Nissan, when you think about it, is the perfect example of whatever that brand's asking prices for most vehicles, most consumers still think of it as being much higher than the value it represents to them. So that's why you see someone like Nissan struggling. And let's face it, they have a ton of offerings that are at the lower price point for most manufacturers, and yet they struggle mightily to sell those because even though they're inexpensive, kind of like a Mitsubishi Mirage, inexpensive, but at the price point it's at, the asking price exceeds what the customer perceives its value to be. for instance, a Mitsubishi Mirage 4 years ago might have been a $10,000 MSRP car or $11,000 MSRP car. Today, it's just a tad under 20,000. Well, people don't see that. They don't see the value exceeding that. They see the value somewhere well below that price point.
Well, maybe, Pops, maybe more people are seeing the value in what we can do back at CarEdge.com. The reason I bring it up, folks, is because, again, we have a 25% off promotion running kind of in perpetuity while there's a 25% import tariff on new vehicles, 25% off CarEdge Insights, which are the tools you can use to get a fair deal, on your next car. Check out CarEdge Insights, and you can see all the great information you get there. Or our car buying services. You can click right there, click skip the dealership. 25% off our car buying services is an insane value, Dad. Every month, hundreds of customers are working with us on our negotiation expert service and our full car buying service. $100 off discount essentially is what you're getting for our negotiation service, which again means that you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting. We are representing you and getting you that best deal. That's $299 instead of $399. And the concierge car buying service, you're not 100% sure which vehicle you want. It's $250 off. So hopefully, Dad, and we've seen it in our numbers, the value exceeds the price point there. Check it out, folks. Dad, let's come here to the chat. We've had some really thoughtful contributions come in from Movin Geck. I think this is probably a dance moment, Dad.
Well, and I broke into dance like, Bob Fosse suddenly took over my body. He was a
Don't know what that reference is. Let's
he
go
was a
here.
great choreographer.
I'll take your word for it. From Matthew. Good to see you, Matthew. Appreciate it as always. Zach, you aren't old enough. Subarus and Tahoes have been 0% forever and a day in the past. This return to form suggests we're living in the R word. Wow. Okay. Using the potential recession word here, which I do think, Dad, is another threat to all these automakers, which will increase incentive spend. Yeah.
May I say, it is not just a threat to all these automakers. It is a threat to everyone.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. You've seen CEOs like the Southwest CEO coming out and saying, hey, our word. But 0% financing is a big deal because in this market, they have not been offering 0% financing on these vehicles, and now they're bringing it back. And again, from Matthew here, thank you, Matthew. Mitsubishi Mirage for $20,000. No, you're not seeing things. I think the Mitsubishi Mirage at that price point is a value. Absolutely is a value, especially when you look at used car options and it's like crappier quality, etc.
I get it, but really, if you were to check, literally 4 or 5 years ago, that same car was, I think, $10,995 or $11,995. Wasn't anywhere near 20 grand, and that's the issue for that vehicle. I mean, even though it's new, it has gone up in price so much that people just don't perceive that the value matches the price at all.
Yeah, car price inflation has been across all makes and models of vehicles. Now let's keep going through the chat here from Igor. Used car sales are up as well by 15% from March. So it's not just new car tariff panic, but the market overall. I mean, yeah, that's what it is. The data. So if you're joining late, Hyundai, Kia, and Ford shocked the auto industry. Yeah, because they had insane year-over-year sales growth. I mean, if there wasn't a panic buying situation going on right now, we would have no justification for why Ford sales are up 16% year-over-year, Hyundai, Kia sales up 16% year-over-year, and Mazda sales up 21% year-over-year. But it's because the market overall is in a state of panic buying. People are moving faster to purchase vehicles. And to Igor's point, that it's not just new cars; it's showing up in the used car market as well.
Absolutely, and we understand, and that used car values might not be spiking as much in some parts of the country as it seems to be on the coasts of the country. We see it every day here with from our contacts as to what they're having to pay for these things, and the prices have been going up dramatically compared to what historically they would normally do this time of year. So and the used car shortage is going to continue because of those 10 million cars that were supposed to have been built that were never built during the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. It just exacerbates the challenge. From Leo Troll, does employee pricing mean we can't negotiate deals? No, not at all. Not at all. You can still negotiate. The dealership's probably gonna be like, hey, it's employee pricing, it's employee pricing. But if it's an old aged unit that they're really desperate to get rid of, they'll throw another $1,000 at it, another $2,000 at it. I mean, we've seen that time and time again, even though there's the blanket employee pricing. You really got to move something, Dad, and you're a dealer. You're willing to take a shorter deal.
Yeah, if it's really an aged unit, if it's something that's been sitting around for 350 days, and employee pricing isn't enough to get somebody to buy it, yeah, you'll toss another couple $1,000 at the pricing in order to try and get somebody to finally say yes and get it off your lot. I mean, it's just costing you money.
Let's come here, Dad, from Tom. He's saying, not shocking. The public was scared into buying. You two didn't help either. Now watch the sales tank. I think it's important to understand that if you're in the market to buy a car and you're looking for advice, you got to make a smart decision. And so what we've been educating people is prices are going to go up, which, if I'm not mistaken, prices have been going up, especially on the used car side. And so, yeah, if you're going to buy a car this year, the typical advice has been wait till end of year. There's no indication that end of year this year is going to be a better deal than right now.
And we know that the average transaction price appears to have gone up in April by about $800. So even though people are pulling themselves forward to buy cars now before prices spike, they're still paying more than what they did in March to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So, if you want to blame us. I honestly, I don't think we have that much pull. that we impact the industry as much as many of you think we might.
Yeah, I think you're probably onto something. Baron here, thank you, Baron, appreciate it. Thank new and old media for stoking fear. Car markers, thank you, hilarious. Car makers, thank you, hilarious. I don't think it's funny, guys. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out. I don't think it's funny. I don't think what's going on is funny. I think the affordability crisis gets meaningfully worse in 2025. Feels like we've talked about it multiple times before. Feels like deja vu. Feels like we're watching the same movie we watched happen at the beginning of the pandemic 5 years ago. I'm meaningfully concerned for vehicle affordability.
We can agree to disagree, but I don't call it stoking fears when you talk about reality. And the reality is prices are going up. Okay. So if you want to construe that as stoking fear, well, then you can pay more for whatever the crap is you want to buy later when you finally decide to buy it. And for those people who said, you know what, I can read between the tea leaves, the price is going to go up. It would be better for me financially to pay less for it today than to pay more for it tomorrow. And if that's stoking fear, when in my mind, that is like, well, just trying to use a little logic, then so be it. We're stoking fear.
It's educated versus uneducated. If you're informed and educated, you know what's going to happen. And maybe you don't know, to be clear, who knows what's going to happen in the future, but you have some informed speculation for what could happen in the future versus being in the dark on everything and just, poking your head out and being like, oh, I guess I'll go buy a car today. No, like understand the market dynamics.
Yeah, regular guy wants to know when are prices going up? Pull up the first article. The average transaction price in April went up by $800. What more proof do you need?
Actually, I'm pulling it up really quickly. Give me 1 second here, folks. Cox Automotive, Auto News.
Yeah.
Automotive News has actually added this chart to their website. It's super interesting. And it tracks pre and post tariff pricing. And so you can see here, pre-tariff pricing are on April 1st, $49,677, $50,065. We were in February down to $48,558. So it's not just us. I mean, this is the whole automotive industry looking in the mirror and saying, oh, crap, prices are going up.
But yeah, where, when? I don't know. Every flipping day.
Baron, thanks for the contribution. You're giving automakers space to raise prices.
We're not giving them space to do anything. They're going to do what they're going to do, whether we articulate it or not. So please stop thinking that we have this unbelievable power within we do not. These automakers are going to do whatever it is they think they can get away with. It's got nothing to do with Zach and I or CarEdge or anyone else.
All right,
We're not giving them the space to do it. We're not giving them permission.
If we can help you out, if you're in the market, if you're going to be in the market, if you end up in a situation where you need to buy a vehicle, you need to check your vehicle value, you want to get a window sticker for your vehicle, please, folks, check out CarEdge.com, play around on the website, create a free account, and let us know what we can be doing better to serve you and your family and your friends. Check it out back at CarEdge.com. Dad.
Yes.
I'm not going to be on the show tomorrow because I'm flying back to DC. So I think Justice is doing the show with you tomorrow. I'll double check. But we should have a Friday show, I think.
I have no idea. What time are you flying back?
My flight's at 8:30 Pacific time. So like literally during the show.
11:30 my time. Yeah. If you could figure out some way to do it from inside the airplane without disturbing people sitting around you, that would almost be worth the entertainment value.
I was unaware, but he will be there. My man, Justice. Thank you.
With Justice, I was unaware as well.
Hey, would folks enjoy if Igor called into the show? Let us know in the comments right now. Thank you, Igor. That's super generous to offer. Let's see if folks would like to hear your insights. I imagine they would, so we'll check the chat for that. But Dad, let's call it a show. Let's call it a day. Nice.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we've got some yeses coming through. Okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely have Mr. Igor call in. It would be awesome. Let's call it a show. Let's call it a day. We'll do it all again. I'll be with you on Monday, but I'll watch the show tomorrow and see you, Justice, and Igor.
I'm loving it. Okay, we're looking forward to it.
Do you want to see what I climbed yesterday?
Yes. Did you see my comment on your Instagram story?
No. What did you comment on my Instagram story?
Well, you should pull it up sometime.
All right. Wait a second. I'll show everyone what I climbed yesterday. Bear with me. If you're not following me over on Instagram, you're missing nothing because I think the last time I posted was, drum roll please. You
posted a story today or whatever that was.
Yeah, I don't know why that won't load. It's been like years since I posted, but
yeah,
I did post this story today. That's where I was climbing, Dad.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Where are you on the ground or are you one of those climbers?
That's me right there. I'm belaying my friend Daniel. And we met this husband-wife duo who are climbing next to us as well. Isn't this gorgeous?
Yes. Yeah. I did send a comment in regards to this. My comment was that looks still, I don't give a poop what you say. That still looks dangerous to me. Really, I think you need to give bowling a chance. What's the worst that could happen? You drop the ball on your foot. Although I will give you credit, what you climbed yesterday was much prettier than any bowling alley. So
it really was. It was also the hardest climb I've ever done. It was an 11B, Dad. I mean, so the husband of that husband-wife duo that was over to the left of us had a laser pointer. And he was giving me the moves to do because I was looking at this. I'm sitting there in my harness looking at it. I'm like, I don't see it. I don't get it. I had to use I was using a knee bar and a heel hook and a toe hook. And I'm got up it though.
Yeah. I think you could use the laser pointer for bowling, showing you where you should aim the ball for. Just me.
Folks. My dad will see you tomorrow. I'll see you on Monday. I have not gambled once, Sean, since I've been here and don't plan on it. Dad, I love you, and I'll talk to you later on today.
I love you as well. Be careful out there today.
Thank you. Will do. Much love.
See you, everybody. See you back here tomorrow.